Okay, welcome everybody to the Referral Challenge Q&A Mastermind call for Friday, September 8th. Couple announcements to make for everybody on the call and those who watch later. Number one is this recipe vault. We've got 13 folks who participated already, so we've got 65 recipes submitted by them. I found an excellent source after literally weeks and weeks of searching. Found a very good source. It's not unlimited, but I was able to get about 100 really good quality recipes, really good pictures. So now we're up to about 165 recipes, and I think I can get be somewhere between 40 to 100 more. So with all told, even if nobody else contributes, we'll have 240 some recipes. However, I will say this, the only way you can get them is to contribute. So if you want the recipe vault, you got to contribute to the recipe vault. That's the incentive that we're going to use to get more participation and contribution from everybody in the group. Because frankly, if everybody just contributed 5, we'd be all set. But it's been like pulling teeth so far. So that's the recipe update. If you want to contribute, just put together 5 good recipes and 5 pictures. The people who've contributed already, some of them had sort of professional pictures, and then some of them took their own pictures. And it's not hard at all to take really good recipe pictures. It's as simple as it gets. You're just taking a picture of a dish or a bowl. Just make it look good. That's about it. So that's the only requirement, is that you submit good quality pictures that are good size. They need to be at least 500 by 500 pixels because they're going to be posted to, ideally they're bigger, 1,000 by 1,000 would be ideal. So anyway, good quality picture and then a good recipe, and just submit them to support@localleveragellc.com. And oh wait. I get confused with my own email address. It's support@localleveragellc.com. Sorry. All right.
When you're as popular as Eric Root, he's got so many he doesn't even know what he's using.
That's crazy. Okay, so that's the recipe thing. The Habit Maker hard copy book is in the process of being formatted right now to be printed on that the website that I shared with you guys before. However, I have found a second source that might even be better. It's like $1 more expensive, but it looks like you can get a better quality print out of it. So I'm looking into that. Anyway, I'll update you guys, but one way or the other, it'll be formatted, ready to go by next week. The other thing I wanted to mention was the SmartStart marketing, which I'm going to release something later this afternoon or tomorrow morning at the latest on some marketing tactics. But I want to mention to you, we just sold, my mother-in-law passed away a couple months ago, and so we sold her car for her husband just last week. And the people who bought the car, very nice young couple, he's in the Marines, he's a captain in the Marines, and his wife, who live not far from us here, and when I met them, and they found out what Camille and I do, we got into this whole conversation because his wife, is a aspiring fitness professional, and she and her husband Mike, her name's Ellie, his name's Mike. They're both just into fitness. Neither one of them are certified, and they're not personal trainers or anything, but they're really into fitness. And they said they just on a whim started a Facebook group last month and started posting a bunch of really good content in the group, and then telling their friends and stuff and in their feed about it. And in less than a month, they're up to 300 people in their group. So you can get traction in these things quickly. And I just thought that was a great example of it. And I've heard other stories like that. I just talked to Alicia Strieger last week when I was visiting. We had him over for dinner and shot some pool and had some fun. And she was telling me about different people she's talked to, and she's used some of their case studies in her presentation at IDEA of these guys and girls with Facebook groups who have, just a couple thousand people in them, 1,500 to 2,000 people who are, one dude is doing about 40K a month in nutrition sales out of his group. The other guy's doing about 5K a month in nutrition sales and like 12K in training sales just from his group. These are just two stories, and you can verify these with Alicia. These are case studies she used in her idea presentation. I'm telling you guys this so you hopefully get the vision, get excited and work at this thing, because it can be something special. And I think we've created a strategy that's pretty potent and can be very effective. And then you guys add your personal touch to it, your own personality and things in terms of the marketing. And of course, the charitable aspect draws in even more people. So there's a lot of opportunity there. And one of the things I would mention to you, and last point is regarding the SmartStart marketing. One of the things I'm going to encourage everybody to do is to go live in Facebook. And I know some people have reservations about that. Personally, I do, but I'm going to do it because we need to build our own group for local by referral. In order to, that's one of the mechanisms we're going to use to grow members in the local by referral side to help you guys to provide partners for you guys. So one of the marketing tactics that I'm going to be using to do that, to grow that group, is going live in Facebook. And we're going to do it on a very consistent basis. So I would encourage all of you guys to do that. And now, just FYI, if you're not aware of this, you can actually go live with pre-recorded video. There's a way to do that. So if you're a little nervous about actually being live, you can actually pre-record a video now and use a software. You can use a software to launch that video using Go Live. So it's not technically live. I'll write some more about that. I'll include links and share all that information with you. But so there's ways around this thing. There's also a neat thing. One more thing on Go Live that I did with Ben Davis during the last time when we promoted the referral challenge. Ben had me did a Facebook Live presentation with me, interviewing me inside of his Facebook group. And he used a service called Be Live, and I'll include a link about this as well. But it's really cool. It's like Zoom. Be Live is just like Zoom, but for Facebook groups, and so you can and Facebook Live. So you can literally interview somebody on video, and that's what Ben did with me, inside your group, which is perfect for partner interviews. They don't even have to be with you. They can be at their office, and you can sit there and do an interview with a partner or something like that. So there's a lot of ways to leverage this stuff. Facebook is just—it's amazing, and we need to work it. So those are my updates. Aaron, you got anything? You're good? Okay. All right, good deal. Well, I've got to bug out right at 3 o'clock my time, so that's about 50 minutes. So we're going to have to move things along here pretty well. Let me do this. Is there anybody who has something urgent that they need to cover right now? Anybody? Okay. All right. Well, then we're just going to hit this in order. Andrew, let's start with you. Give us an update. Tell us how things are going and any questions you've got for us.
Yeah, sure. Hey, a lot going on. I've been working my butt off, just getting all these systems into place. It's no joke. A lot of prepping, and it's good stuff. So the SmartStart, I got the group all up and running. I only got about 40 people though, and I would say half of it's clients. And I'm doing my best to get people in it. I followed all the promotional emails to clients, prospects, and I did a Facebook post. I actually took your advice too on the getting my coach incentives. Like for every 100 people, she gets $100. 1,000 people, or 100 people, $10. 1,000 people, $100. So she's on board with that. We've been doing that for about a week now. Haven't gotten much traction yet, so I'm curious to what you're going to be pulling out here for the marketing. So that's it for the SmartStart. I'll set a no, actually, before I ask these questions, I'm running a challenge for September 25th, and I took one of Fred Zoller's ideas, donating a pound for every pound lost, and I'm actually going to donate that to people in Houston for Hurricane Harvey. So pretty excited about that. What else? I signed up 5 new members in the past week, so that was really good for me.
Awesome.
Finally getting some traction, so that's really encouraging.
How'd those members come to you? What were you using to get them?
I would say half was referrals, and surprisingly, half was just drive-bys. And so that you can't complain about that.
No, do you track all your source of new client acquisition? So, drive-bys, referrals. You just mentioned that you track those 5 at least. You track everybody?
Yep.
Okay, good. What percentage of your customers come to you by drive-by walk-in?
I would say probably 25%. In the past week, it was 50%, so that was pretty surprising for me.
Yeah, that's significant. Chris Gray has the same. He gets a decent number too. He's on the call. I would encourage you, just as I would any time you find a source that's pretty consistently performed for you, and 25% up to 50, that's huge. You want to try and look for ways to optimize that and improve on that. Do you use any type of signage?
Not really, just my outdoor sign. That's it.
Outdoors, yeah, just the sign like above your door type thing.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, nothing else on top of that.
Yeah, well,
it's tough because I have a bar literally right next door to me, and it's the landlord. It's like I haven't got anyone else from that, but it makes it a little tougher too because people are like drinking and smoking right outside my door. So patio right outside, but I love my beer too, but as far as like for fitness, it makes it a little more challenging.
Yeah, but clearly it's not a detriment because if you're getting those walk-ins, there's something. So just be thinking about that. What you can do signage-wise, and I wouldn't even ask for permission. It's easier to get forgiveness than permission. So I just start doing it, and I wouldn't invest in anything significant, but just those tripod or whatever they're called signs that you can put out on the sidewalk type thing. Anything at all that you can do to optimize that and hopefully get more folks. But that's good. Congratulations on those 5 new clients. That's
thanks.
It's called an A-frame sign, Andrew. So you know, but just any sign making company in your neighborhood can make an A-frame sign.
Okay.
And you should do it. He's absolutely right. You'll probably be amazed at the bump you'll get if you use it.
Yeah.
What was the suggestion that I would have on the sign? What would you think?
It could be anything. I would play with the messaging. I might, personally, if I'm in your shoes, I'm going to go next door. I'm going to have a talk with the bar owner, right? And I am going to play off humor off of that. I'm going to say, had too much to drink, time to work out. Something like that. I would do everything I could to drive traffic through the door through a humor-based message, but not, an angst message, making the bar owner mad, right? It's just one idea, but nothing else but just, your offer out there. 1 free week, right? Something like that.
Okay.
And a phone number and website.
Okay.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I agree. I would play around with different things too. And that's why I wouldn't invest money in getting actual signs made. I'd buy the A-frame and then create your own signs just on the cheap so you can test different things. And as Aaron said, I like the humor angle a lot, hungover here, come in here and sweat it out, that kind of thing. Want to quit the smokes? I got the secret, that kind of, there's a lot of angles you can go, and that's just one of them. And the primary thing to note that Aaron mentioned, most important thing is it's the offer. It's the offer. You want to have some compelling copy, but the offer is the most important part. So quick and simple, and then mechanisms for contact. So that, website, phone number, as you mentioned.
Okay, perfect. Yes.
Real quick, let me just also address what you said about SmartStart. So just here's the deal. There's, there's a very famous quote that's been used for, I don't know, however long, at least a couple decades, is that some guy asked a guru, what's the best way for me to get new clients? And the guru was like, well, I don't know one way, but I can tell you 30 ways, or I can tell you 50 ways. And that's the thing we're going to do with SmartStart is there is no magic bullet. There isn't one. I'm not going to be able to hand you, and Aaron's not going to be able to hand you one tactic that's going to, maybe, who knows, we might hit it out of the park, but we never count on that. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do a lot of stuff, and we're going to do a lot of stuff consistently, because the beauty of this is it's something that's evergreen, and you can drive people into it all day long, every day, all year, into this thing, and it becomes a funnel into your business. So we'll provide you with a lot of tactics, but there most likely will not be just one thing that is the answer.
Yeah, but let me pipe in real quick, Andrew, before you continue. What Eric has put together with this SmartStart thing, I hope you can appreciate genius. This is seriously hot, and focus on getting people through that thing. I know you said you only have 50 people on it or whatever. But, as you ramp up and you start getting the message out, more and more people will filter through it. And this thing is the evergreen magic bullet, if you want to use the word. It'll be there for you year-round.
Yeah, and the great thing about it is, and this is, Alicia told me this, and I think anybody with a substantial group will tell you that there is a tipping point. You have to really work it hard for a period of time until you get to a certain number of people. And I don't know the magic time, I don't know the magic number, but there comes a tipping point where Alicia's told me she got it to a certain point. I don't know what it was, 1,000 or 2,000 members or something. And she said suddenly it just starts growing almost exponentially because the word gets out and people start flowing in, and there's a lot less that you've got to do to attract new members, and then it just becomes focusing almost entirely on the conversion of existing members. But we'll be doing all that. We'll be attracting and converting simultaneously.
Okay, perfect.
All right. And anything else, Andrew?
Come on, you gotta move on.
I've been working on the new client onboarding process, so I've got that pretty much into place. But that's been really helpful with over delivering. So really happy about that. And I'm working on the past client reactivation process too. That's the one that Aaron made a video on.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that goes into that, but I don't know if that's a top priority, if I should be really driving that right now, or if I should kind of put that on hold a little bit. So I'm just kind of doing little by little. So
how many past clients do you have?
I would say right now I got probably 60 on the list.
That's a decent number.
Yeah.
There are ways to simplify that, the reactivation campaign. So, and there's also this, is that we're not after perfection, we're after production. And sometimes perfection, as Pat Rigsby likes to say, is the enemy of done. And so don't get too hung up. What Aaron created is awesome, and you should have fun with it if you're going to do it. But I wouldn't get too hung up on trying to make it perfect.
Okay.
Get it out there.
All right. I do have a couple of questions though.
Yeah.
For my SmartStart, I actually had one of my clients. She's been with me probably the longest. She made a suggestion. So my group is called Get Fit Dearborn Heights, and that's where my facility is located. But we're in a weird part of the town where it's Dearborn Heights, and then we have all these different cities around us. And I maybe only have 10% of the people coming from Dearborn Heights. So she was saying, is this something that could hinder people from joining your group if that's the name, or maybe I should change it to a different name. So I don't know if you guys have any feedback on that.
Yeah, if you're only pulling 10% of your clients from Dearborn Heights, then yeah. I remember when you posted about that, and we were trying to work out how you should name the group. That is, you definitely want, ideally, to name the group after the area where you're pulling the vast majority of your clients. And I know in some cases like yours, people are pulling from different towns, but I think most cases they're pulling the majority from one area. Is there one area where you pull the majority from? I mean, a distinctive majority?
I wouldn't say one area, but there's a big group of cities we call it the downriver community. So we can say downriver, Get Fit downriver, but at the same time, I have a lot of clients coming from farther north. So it's a little bit of both. And I can't say Metro Detroit because that's too broad, you know. So trying to figure out if I should even change it and redo everything, or if I just leave it the way it is and see how it goes.
Yeah.
It's a tough one.
It is a tough one. I think if you, at this point, I would say don't back up and change, because you've already invested time and effort in getting that video done. I would keep it, and I just make sure that whenever you put out your marketing messages, you make it clear, hey, we service the downriver area. We service all these, and I'd name them. And so, you know, if you're in that area and you want to, you know, get fit the SmartStart way, then join our group, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. I mentioned this in the group too for the check-ins. I had a very small amount for the month of August. It was a late start. I only was able to get about $20 worth of check-ins. This next month, I know it's going to be a lot better. With the referral rewards program, I actually had a client donate $50 already to my charity. And one of my other guys said he was going to match whatever we made and, you know, basically put that towards the charity. So that was really cool hearing that. So having that said, I don't know if I should keep the budget of 10 cents or maybe increase it to a quarter and, you know, maybe go more along with my budget. You know, I'm comfortable doing maybe $100, $150 a month. You know, as we grow, that's going to increase. So I don't know if I should just stick to my word of 10 cents or maybe I should bump it up.
I think you could, you can test. And, you know, that's the answer that we usually use in marketing is it's always a test. But what I would do is I'd work backwards. So you said you're comfortable with 100 at 25 cents. That's 400 check-ins a month. How many check-ins did you have in September? I mean, in August?
August was only about a little over 150.
Okay. That was just half the month, or was it the full month?
It was about half.
Yeah. Okay. So,
and you know, people are still getting into it. They're still building the habit, technical issues, stuff like that. So I think it's going to take some time.
Yeah, it might. And I think, you know, try and ride it out at 10 or maybe bump it up to 15. I wouldn't jump to 25 because it sounds like you're right on the cusp. You get a good full month, you're going to hit that $100 mark.
Okay. Yeah, I'll wait it out this month and then go from there.
Yeah. That sounds good. But just be confident and be proud of what you're doing and just continue to push and be consistent with the effort, because things will fall into place. It's just a matter of that, you know, consistent communication and training your clients, getting them excited about it, and that's you talking it up.
Okay, perfect. One last thing. I actually visited a partner just the other day, or a potential partner. One of my clients suggested him. He's a physical therapist. He runs a performance rehab facility type place, so they're a little bit different. And I went to check his place out, see what he's all about. And then I guess the next step is to maybe send him that promotion email via or about the SmartStart group. I don't know if there's any SOPs on, you know, what you should do moving forward with a partner. Do you guys have any suggestions with that? It's my first one.
Yeah. We're going to get into the partnering shortly, and we'll have a lot on that. But in this case, just keep it simple. Just say, hey, Bob, listen, you know, you and I've got a good relationship or a growing relationship or whatever the case may be. And I think we can help each other. And here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to promote you inside I'd like your help grow in the group. And then you and I will work together inside the group to help promote your business. So we can, you know, I'll have you in, we can do interviews in the group. You can post content in the group that's as long as it's cleared by you. And we can periodically make offers for things, you know, that you're doing, that type of thing. Just the only thing you got to keep in mind is that it's win-win. And as long as he understands that he's going to win, just like you're going to win, he should be on board. if he catches that vision. Do you think he's catching that vision? Do you think he's open to it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right. So just start simple. Just say, hey, send these emails out. Help me push some folks into this. I'll help your people out. They'll love you because you guided them into my group, and I'll help them. And then as we move forward, we'll look at ways that we can promote you inside the group. And I'd be happy to maybe send an email on your behalf or something you'd like or something along those lines. So just keep it simple.
Okay. Sounds good.
Eric, I can speak on that.
Yeah, please, Chris.
So I'm partnered with a physical therapist right inside my facility. So we have adjoining facilities, but we knocked the wall down in between of us. So just to kind of give you a perspective on that. So what we did is I meet with them every other week. So last time I met with them, when they walked in the conference room, I had the SmartStart group pulled up on the TV. And I did a presentation for them, and I just very short, nothing fancy, but I showed them what we were doing and explained the value for them and their patients and clients and so on and so forth. And that went over really, really well. So they liked it. And then, I talked to them about how they could position that as, something that would separate them from other physical therapists around town to be able to provide this additional value. And they have a medically oriented gym in there within this facility as well. So there's people who are coming in there and they're working out within their facility as well at some level. So they need that additional guidance with nutrition and fitness tips, et cetera. So it's a great fit, at least in my circumstance. So that went really well. I sent them the Facebook. I sent them the emails that you guys provided us for the partner emails, and repositioned them as Facebook posts as well. That way they could post them on their Facebook pages. I pretty much did the work for them, and just so they could copy and paste it. And then they have a bulletin board right there in their side as well. So I created a flyer that was basically almost like a mirror image of my landing page with all the value bullet pointed out. And then we created business cards that basically say Get Fit Kent County on there. And so now the flyer is there with the business card sitting next to it. So when they're talking about it with their patients, because they're super busy, physical therapists are super busy. They're not going to have time to chat a whole lot because they're jumping from patient to patient. But they can grab one of them cards real quick and give it to somebody and move on to their next patient. And now that patient has your information and your address for your page. So that's what we got going on.
I love that shit, man. That was awesome. That you got it. That sounds great, brother. That sounds great, and I'm proud of you. And that's fantastic. And now it's really just a matter of managing it and continuing to push it through. So because people have a tendency to forget, and so you just want to stay on top of your partners and help them to remember. But boy, it sounds like you really. I'm just impressed. That's beautiful.
Yeah, and let me pipe in real quick, Chris. That was beautiful, dude. And I worked in a physical therapy clinic, and I own a fitness facility. And here's what I can tell you for certain: you nurture that relationship right, and they will send you clients just because they like you.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. And you've got such a nice, close relationship with them too. I mean, physically close, as well as the actual relationship component, emotional component. That's beautiful. And I like what you said a lot. I like everything you said. In fact, I made a note, Chris Gray, at the 25-minute mark. I'm going to point this out because everybody needs to listen to that. What you were talking about, how it adds value to your partner. It's a way for your partner to add value to their patients, in this case, physical therapy patients. And that's really important. It's not just them helping you grow your business. It's them giving additional value to their patients. And that's the key point. Yeah. That's beautiful. Did that make sense, Andrew?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Good. And obviously that's more advanced. I mean, Chris gets it and he moved forward rapidly on this stuff, and that's great. And don't feel like you have to mimic all this stuff immediately. You just need to keep moving forward bit by bit, and we'll help guide you on how to do that. But that's where you want to get to, what Chris just described. Yeah. All right, good. Okay, Andrew, we're going to move on. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Chris, since you were just talking, let's get back to you. Let's go to you. Give us an update other than the physical therapy thing, which is awesome, and let us know how you're doing.
Okay. Everything's going extremely well with SmartStart. So we launched it out about a week and a half ago. We have about 300 members in there right now. And I already got 2 customers out of that page who reached out to me. They Facebook messaged me privately or through the group, I can't remember which, and inquired about my services. So we got that going on. So that's good. So it was great to see that, the fruit of your labor there coming from that page, how it's supposed to work. So that's awesome. And I'm seeing them, they're downloading the Habit Maker Journal. So I'm growing my list at the same time. So, it's good to see it all come together. So
Chris, before you move on, what's the gender breakdown? Females, male, female, or what was it?
Yeah, females.
Both? Okay.
Yeah. So that's going really well, and been working with all my partners. They've all been putting the information out there as well. So I think that's why it grew pretty quick, because of the partners. They were willing to post it out there on Facebook and so on. So that's went well. Check-in for charity. We just finally got that launched too as well over the last week. That's going really well. We just had our clients start checking in this week, and all seems to be going well with that. We're just trying to get the tracking down on that on the back end. So right now I have my assistant just going to my notifications, and we're having them tag me in the check-ins. So if there's any updates on best practices for tracking from your end, I'd love to hear that. But that seems to be going pretty well. Doesn't seem like there's a perfect way in tracking that, but that's what we're doing. So that's going really well so far. Just looking at my list here. So we launched another program that's an anniversary. You talk about the shirt, the T-shirt where you earn it. We were talking about that in the beginning of the program. So what we did is we tied the shirt program to the anniversaries, and there's a couple other people in this group who have been doing that as well. So I can't take I stole the idea, but what I did was tied the anniversaries for our clients into a color T-shirt, and each year of each year's different color shirt. So you have to earn the shirt. And we have all the way up through 10 years. That's as long as we've been in business so far. So each year or each month, we will recognize all the anniversaries by giving them a T-shirt that's special for them. They can only earn it. On the back of it, on the front it has our logo, and on the back of it, it says Breakthrough, which is the name of our business, and it has the number of years they've been with us, real big. And then on the bottom it says strong. So it'll say like Breakthrough Strong, and then a huge number for however many years they've been with us. And there's that color shirt is only for that year. So therefore in the future we can have, the plan is to have red shirt workouts or blue shirt park gatherings, or so we can really bring those people together who have been with us for that many years and really honor them and do some fun stuff with them. So that's something we just rolled out as well.
That's fantastic, and that's great community building activity. I mean, talk about a culture, developing your culture within your business. That's huge. That sounds great.
Yeah. So everything's going really well. I don't really have anything else to report in. Nutrition's going well with Rick Streb. We're rolling that out. We got various layers of that happening too on our end as well. So, yeah, the only other thing I probably have for the group that I would like to ask is, I have a lot of people asking me about at-home fitness programs. Do we provide at-home fitness programs? There's a lot of people I've talked to who they'll say, I'd love to work with you, but I can't afford it. My budget's, very minimal. When I ask, what is your budget? They're talking like, maybe $30, $40 a month at best is what we're talking about. So a lot of people have been asking me, do you provide at-home workout plans so that I could take your plan and go to the gym on my own and do that? So I just wanted to get some thoughts on that and see if anybody's doing that successfully, if that's a smart move to do. And I know Rick does a real good job with offering these lower level services that really, that residual income makes a huge difference at the end of the year. So I know that's what he's doing with nutrition, which we're also doing, but I'm wondering if anybody's doing that with workouts.
Anybody doing that? Okay, well, I'll tell you what I have heard. One way to approach this. There's a lot of ways, but the best way, but it's time consuming and difficult, is to create your own product that you can sell. Now, the alternative to that, the simple, easy way, is to just go on ClickBank and look up the best-selling fitness products on there, and find and maybe ask some folks what other fitness professionals what they know is good, because there are some really good products on there, and fitness is I think the #1 biggest seller on ClickBank. It's one of them. And just become an affiliate and send anybody who asks for that, just send them the link, your affiliate link to that product, and say, well, here's a solution for you, and I would offer them this. I'd upsell them on it. I'd say, here's a great product that I strongly recommend, and what you can do is for an additional $100, you can come in and meet with me personally one time a month. We'll review your workouts, review your journal, whatever you want to do, and maybe take you through a professional workout here too to help you learn any exercise you need to do. Anyway, the bottom line is you can upsell the affiliate product that you sell. You can have an upsell attached to it where all the money goes to you. That's a potential solution.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, good. Then, the other thing I want to mention is that one of the things we're going to encourage you guys to do, particularly as your SmartStart groups grow, and Chris, you're already at that point right now at 300, is to basically almost every day, and this is why it's probably going to become important to either have, somebody, well, you definitely need a person who is dedicated to posting in your group, and I assume most of you guys will have that, and it ideally won't be you. Where you either that or you use a service like Meet Edgar, which I've heard great things about. And because one of the posts you want to appear on a daily basis, besides the recipes and your workout, is a referral call to action. And we'll give you some like graphics that you can use, but to post that once a day, just reminding people, hey, you can add your friends to this group. Anybody that you know of who you think might benefit, just add them to the group and we'll approve them, that type of thing. Because it's those internal referrals will definitely help grow the group substantially as well. All right, anything else, Chris? No, you're good? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. That's a great update, and congratulations on all the success. I know you've been just crushing it the last couple months with a lot of massive action, and you're, like you said, you're enjoying some of the fruits of that now, and I'm sure they're going to continue to grow for you. So that's great.
Thanks.
All right. Let's move on. Hey, Mr. Zoller's here. He just popped in. That's great. All right. Sorry, what was that? Oh, hey, Fred.
Stranger danger.
It's good to see you, man. It's good to see you. It's been a while. Fred, well, since we're already starting, give us an update. Tell us how things are going on your end with your business, and any questions or anything we can help you with.
The business is going good. I haven't switched to doing a SmartStart yet, but I had already had a community group. I got about 550 people in it, and I'm pretty much following the steps. I'm kind of using Alicia's stuff. I do some of my own posts in there, but my admin does it all. If I have something I want to post, I'll just email it to her and let her do it. That way I can do it whenever I want to do it. Other than that, business is going good. It's very extremely busy right now. We have, off season for about 3 or 4 sports. So right now we have about around 170 athletes added to my gym. And so that's been pretty good. That'll be a nice little revenue bump from now until January. I almost have it set up to where I have people all year long. Referrals are still going good. Check-ins are going good. It has probably dipped. And, I saw in the Facebook group that somebody was posting about not having as many check-ins as they wanted to. And, I asked my members for feedback, and some of them honestly just said I got tired of doing it, which is fine. So my advice is if you want to donate a certain amount, just either donate that amount or up the ante if you check-ins, go down. But, some check-ins are better than no check-ins. I mean, you can't really force people to do it.
No, you can't. But also keep in mind, guys, Fred's been with us for a long time. So you've been doing now the check-ins for what, about 7-8 months?
Yeah. We were doing it before. We didn't call attention to it until I joined a referral challenge and made it like a real system of our business. And but I use Post Planner from Automatic Facebook Posts, and once a week I have an automatic Facebook post that goes to the Facebook page and says, don't forget to check in for charity, and this is what we're doing, we're donating. And one thing too, you can, and I know y'all talked about this, so now we switched it to now we're donating to Houston Recovery, I forget the actual group. So that spiked my check-ins again. It's amazing at how maybe they're just tired of donating to one charity and you have to alternate them. So, we went from 900 check-ins down to like 600, down to 300. And then when I did support Houston Recovery, I can't forget, it's supposed to be a very solid group that's right there, has boots on the grounds in the center of everything. And when people saw that, my check-ins jumped back up to 600 and something because it's a way for them to donate.
Yeah.
Without donating, so.
Well, and if I may jump in, Fred, I was going to make this comment when we got done, but now is as good a time as any. The reason I think they revived is the need is imminent, right? It's something that's national news, but beyond that, you had a story to tell, a new story. And I think that if you can keep the story alive, you can keep the check-ins alive. And the story will probably have to change over time, but you need a story tied into your check-ins, I do feel.
Absolutely. I learned a lot by switching to charity and watching that just double in a matter of a short amount of time. So from now on, I'm either going to, one, ask them what they want to donate to this month to increase the check-ins, or two, find some new story, something that's very prevalent. I donate the money no matter what, but I want them to participate. And they don't know that. They just know that I'm paying per check-in. But, I think that's good. Other than that, things are going pretty good. Yes, sir?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think as Aaron said, and as you've articulated as well, the piggybacking on something that's timely is it works in so many different ways for publicity, obviously for check-ins and other things, just because it gets people's attention, because that's top of mind with them. So that's fantastic. And I think this is great that you've shared this nugget with us, because I think what we ought to look at going forward maybe is considering every 3 to 4 months or something, or either being nimble enough to take advantage of current events, or just programmatically changing your charity every couple of months. And that doesn't mean that you're letting go of your original charity, because remember, we're trying to build relationships and partnerships. It just means that for check-ins, you're switching it up. You still maintain the relationship with your existing charity, so you're not dropping people. I think that's something we ought to consider as we grow.
Yeah, and the charity that we support is really, really big, and they're doing a lot for Houston too. But I just told them that just to tweak the check-ins again, we're switching it, and they're fine with that because they're supporting the same cause. Also, I donate to them anyway on the side, so the relationship is still there. But, I was considering, I couldn't believe how quick it jumped and proved that maybe a current event or something different changed it. So I'm considering, testing and measuring, maybe it's As soon as you see a dip, switch. Goes back up. As soon as you see a dip, it might be monthly, bi-monthly, every 3 or 4 months. It really depends. I mean, we went strong for a while with the other one. So that's good. And, you know, we're getting some new members, and we got to get them accustomed to doing it as well.
Yeah, I think it's just fantastic, and it's a great marketing principle in action right there, and that's what we talked about, or the piggybacking, the taking advantage of current events. And I think, you know, those of you who've been doing it for a while, if you're new to the check-ins, I would kind of stick with it. But for those of you who have been doing it for a little while, you should consider, I mean, I think over the next few days, there's going to be havoc in Florida where I am. It's going to be a freaking mess, and there are going to be a lot of, that will absolutely be top of mind. And so there's an opportunity there for you to maybe really pop your check-ins by tying to some charity that supports, you know, helping folks in Florida recover.
Yeah, we're going to absolutely capitalize on, you know, this has been good for me because I'm trying to get to over 100,000 donated this year. So I'm not glad that we had hurricanes, but it's an opportunity for us, everybody, to get all fired up and do what we do best. So I'm real excited about that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. All right, very good. Well, thank you for that, Fred. It's good stuff. And let me jump over to Mike. Mike, give us an update. Tell us how you're doing and any questions you got.
Things are going good. I was away last week on vacation, so I'm back getting after it this week. Been extremely busy. I've had 12 assessments already this week, and I got 2 more today. The check-ins and everything is going well. I have the SmartStart group set aside. I already have it reserved and all that, but I haven't done much with it. Our referral things are going really well. We get a lot of people that are referring, that are donating the money. So we actually just hit a point with the charity that we donate to is called Wiggle Kids. It's a fitness facility that's for children with like special needs, and they are using the money they work with some different Florida Boys and Girls Club, but they also work with the school, Meeting Street School, that has you know, from kindergarten up until high school age of kids that are disabled, that aren't able to be serviced by the regular public school district. So we've been able to provide enough funding for them to do an all-day event at the school for all the kids and their families as well. So they're in the process. That's all getting scheduled right now, which is pretty cool. So I actually I'm looking for some good ways to kind of really use that as kind of like Fred just said, to energize the rest of the people here in terms of where their money's going, and well, not their money, but where we're putting the money based upon what they're doing, to give them that spark really to keep it going, because I think it's going to be pretty awesome, and I want to get some live stuff from that as video and all that as well. And then also we actually tomorrow we're starting Fred's his combine. That combine product, an awesome product. I mean, we've been pumping it for the last. We've changed some of the stuff up to the names and all that stuff to kind of match what we do. But I mean, people have been really fired up by it. I get our coaches are testing today actually in our private Facebook group live for everybody to see, because we got a bunch of people tuning in, a bunch of people that are going to come just to even watch. They're a little bit nervous about it, but I think it's pretty awesome. So if anybody hasn't checked that out yet, that product's pretty cool to add to your family environment that you have going on, which makes all the difference. So that's kind of where we're at right now. A lot going on. I want to get rolling a little bit more with the Facebook thing, but it's did a lot of stuff right now, so it's been kind of put a little bit on the back burner.
Yeah, great. So 2 things. Number one, regarding the charity, as you said, capture some live video. I would just do a quick interview with one of the principals in the charity and just say, hey, you know, what does it mean to you now that we've been able to donate enough to help you get this full day as you described it, and just let them gush. You know, just you just want to capture that story, that emotion, and the story behind it, as Aaron would tell you. And that'll be powerful. And then you can use that in a lot of different ways. Use a video, and, you know, you can write an email about it and things like that. The other thing the question for you is, what's the status on the staff training program, which everybody is looking forward to?
Angela's still working on that. I have a guy at Fiverr doing some video editing to kind of mesh it together, make it look a little more professional. So I haven't gotten that back yet, but that's kind of really where we're at. I'm I'm hoping that it'll be ready in the next week or so. We've been kind of going back and forth. I know we talked the other day, and I went over some of that stuff with Angela as well. So I'm thinking that we're getting pretty close. I mean, I'm excited to kind of get that going too, and it'll give me a little bit more. I've been spending a lot of time kind of doing some of the stuff with that. So I'm excited to kind of get that rolling. It'll be my first product that I put out there, so I'm kind of excited about that. Yeah,
that's exciting stuff. So, all right, good. You could become a multi-business entrepreneur like Mr. Zoller. Fred, just the product that Mike was talking about, your combine product, just tell folks what that's called and where they can find it in case they're interested.
That is, I call it the Client Combine Blueprint. And so basically I got the idea in the gym just from my initial idea was, how do I excite people but take their attention off of the scale? So I decided I would switch it to performance. So I came up with 8 challenges in the gym, or 8 tests, basically. We call them challenges because people don't like the word test. And so with the 8 challenges, you got an opportunity to score at 4 different levels. So there's like the white, and I got the idea of that from my son's karate or taekwondo gym. So it's like a white belt, a yellow belt, a silver belt, and a black belt. And each level, depending on how high you test, puts you in one of those levels. And so the good thing is that it takes the attention away from the scale. It makes it fun. We do a challenge every other week. So every other Friday, there's one of the challenges, and they repeat 3 times a year. So it gives people opportunity to, set benchmarks for themselves. We have posters in the gym, and because all these coaches that I'm coaching, I'm like, look, we think it's fun because we love fitness, but you don't realize you're dealing with people that aren't really in love with it like we are. And so, you have to make it fun for them. And it took me a while to figure out what challenges would be good, because, there's a lot of stuff you can do, but most of my population is general population and women. So it's like, it can't be too heavy, too hard, too whatever. So, those 8 challenges I just kind of came up with on my own. Some of them are a little easier than others, but it's still a challenge. And the way that I pitch it is, man, even if you're a regular Joe, if you get like a silver or a black belt, you are way fitter than 90-something% of the population. And so, and we all know as coaches, if you're going to perform better, you're probably going to eat better, sleep better, and you're probably going to lose weight. You know what I mean? It's not like you're just going to turn into this stud in the gym and you're not going to change what you're doing elsewhere. So that kind of helps with that. And then the second part of that is, I got this idea from CrossFit, is 3 times a year we do an in-house competition, and I create about 5 or 6 events, and we have teams, and everything is for time or reps or something as a team. And there's first, second, and third place and a winner. We usually get about 60 or 80 people with that, and it's a lot of fun. So
it sounds awesome. And Adrian, I think this might be something you ought to look into. Fred, where do they find that product?
I can put a link in the thing, or you want me to just send it to you? I'll send it to you, and you can post it in the Facebook group if you want. It's so cheap. I don't even know how much it is. I think it's around maybe $140 or something like that, but it's worth its weight in gold. The good thing is it's completely plug and play. Really, unless you don't have a certain amount of equipment, there's really no modifications at all. You just change the colors to fit your business, put your logo on it. And
okay,
100% of everybody that's bought it said their clients just love it. And it's really, at the end of the day, it's a retention tool. So Calvin just said it's 147. 147. Yeah.
It's good when your customers know you're pricing better than you do. That's good. Yeah. Thanks, Calvin. Yeah, Fred, if you want to post it in the chat, that's great, and send it to me too. I'll put it in the Facebook group, because that's definitely, all your stuff is great. So happy to share the news with everybody.
Yeah, thank you. It's a cool little, easy to implement product.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, that sounds great. Thank you for that. All right, look, we're going to keep going. I can push back my thing because we haven't gotten everybody yet, and it's already 5:03, so I'm not going to bail on this now because this is another great call. So let's just keep going. Percy, let me jump to you. Let us know how you're doing and any questions that you've got for the group.
All right. Just a couple of quick things. Talking about the since we're talking about the client combine deal, I purchased that as well. We call it Super Saturday, so we do it once a quarter. I mean, if anybody's not doing that, they got to do it. I mean, it brings so much excitement to your facility. Clients love it, you know, and they look forward to the next quarter if they didn't pass or they didn't get to the next level. And that's all you hear, you know, they're working towards. So if you don't have some type of client combine or a testing level system, you got to get it. I mean, clients love it. I mean, they pack the facility out on those Super Saturdays, and it's just an awesome experience. And then you can just see when they didn't pass it last quarter and they come and pass it this next quarter, the excitement, tears, and stuff like that. So it's not like Fred said, it's not about the scale. When they see that performance and see how much better they've gotten, it's amazing. And you got your client for life at that time. Next thing, the Facebook app, Chris, I got it from another guy in the group. As far as your check-ins, I was having problems with that as well. But if you have the Facebook app on your phone that has that orange flag, it gives you every check-in that you have. So when I was trying to find my other check-ins and couldn't, I just went to that Facebook app, and I found all 601 of them. So if that helps, that'll be great. You know, you can do that, but that showed me everyone that I have for the month. So hopefully that continues. So that may be just something you want to check out.
Yeah. Hey, Percy, let me just jump in real quick. Thank you for mentioning that because I'd forgotten about it. But Chris, when you go in the Facebook group, search for Benny Black. He's the one who posted it. It's Benny, B-E-N-Y, Black, B-L-A-Q. And you'll find his post. He put a video in there and he walks you through exactly how to do it. Thanks, Percy. Go ahead.
So we pushed back our SmartStart launch from last week to this week. So we'll be launching. I'll be sending an email out to my clients tomorrow. And then we'll be actually launching it on Facebook later on tomorrow evening. So I have the group ready. We changed the name because as I was talking to Aaron about, we have the city has Get Fit Grand Prairie. They have they have actually a logo. So I was just like, I'm not going to, squat on them. And so I just changed it to Grand Prairie Get Fit, and so we're going to roll with that. And so I started putting in some workouts and some recipes in just so when people pop in tomorrow, they'll start coming in tomorrow, they'll have something to see. My question is, I know we do a daily recipe and a daily workout, but anything else that we do, should it be weekly? Like, I know we have to do like we say we was going to do like a client, like the best body or something like the best results deal. Should that be once a week? We do like a video once a week. What else are we fulfilling fulfilling the group with?
Yeah, so definitely refer to the SOP, and that's in the Facebook group SOP because that outlines everything for you. But just the other items are it's the daily workout, it's the recipe of the day, it's the your best body, which is basically just testimonials. And I think you post those as frequently as you want. I don't think you ought to, unless you got a ton of them, you could do it daily, but maybe once a week, maybe a couple times a week. It's up to you. But you could also, just highlight client stories or anything like that. I mean, anything that builds community, really. And we'll try and compile some sort of different lists of things that you can look at to post with. Asking people for referrals, of course, that would be a very consistent post. Workout or exercise of the day, or not exercise of the day. You could make it of the day, or you could make it of the week, or whatever you wanted to do. You could just do an exercise video where you're just demonstrating an exercise, real quick and simple. We talked about this on last week's call too. If you look at like Eric Cressy videos, he does a great job with his. They're like a minute long, where it's just him showing you how to do an exercise, talking about a couple cues, and that's it. Because that way, people, when you're giving them the actual workout program, if they have questions about, well, how do I do this exercise, you'll be consistently building this library of exercise videos that you can refer people to, which, by the way, we talked about creating your own workout product with Chris earlier. That's something that you get enough of these together and boom, you've got a product essentially. All you need is some written content and some exercise programs, and you've got yourself an info product that you can start selling to people. And that's something I should have mentioned, Chris, when you asked the question. So you're building assets here. Whenever you're creating this type of content, you're creating an asset that can be used in multiple ways. So that's another thing, Percy, is those, exercise demonstrations. I would occasionally, just videotape your clients working out and put that in, post that. Anything that's fun and exciting. You can get your staff members to, stories about staff, your own story, little tidbits. And of course, anything that, about your members, any information you have about your members. Aaron, anything else you can think of that I'm off the top of your head?
Not that you do it every day, but I was just trying to hunt down on Google where there's a gentleman, a newscaster here in Birmingham. His name's J.J. Pruitt. And I go back many, many years, but J.J. has this thing Monday morning on TV called Exercise Monday Morning. And he'll go through various and sundry facilities, and he'll go through a workout and interview the trainer. You need to see if you have a J.J. Pruitt in your city, right? And if you do, then you get J.J. to come out and do his Exercise Monday Morning version, whatever it is he does. And while he's filming you guys, somebody's doing a Facebook Live, right? And so I would definitely check on something like that.
Yeah, that's great. And the other thing is, I can't think of their names off the top of my head, but there's a couple guys that I see all over Facebook and on YouTube that are really great motivational speakers. I mean, top notch. And they get like millions of views on their videos. Now, we're all maybe not at that level, but you can still be, you guys are all expert motivators and leaders and coaches. I mean, that's what you do for a living. So I would think once a week, to use Aaron, when he was talking about the Exercise Monday or Motivation Monday or whatever, just do a little couple minutes on a video of you getting folks fired up, and sharing, your rhetorical skills with them or whatnot, and getting them motivated and fired up, because when you motivate and inspire people, they follow you. Yeah. So there's a lot you can do, Percy. There's no hard and fast, but I think we'll come up with a list, and you guys, you can sort of take what you want off the list and use that, because it is important that it be systemized. We don't want to be doing, and that's one of the problems with the way most groups are done, is that it's sort of ad hoc. It's like, well, what do I post today? And and you don't really know. We want to have a system so that every day, hey, I'm going to be making 2 or 3 posts today, or your staff is, and here's what they're going to be. So you can plan all this stuff out in advance and get it running in a very systematic way, so you're not overwhelmed by creating new content.
Cool.
Does that help?
It does. I just got like one or two more questions, because I gotta run too.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the Habit Maker book that we're gonna be getting, should we give those? Should we give those? Go ahead and just give those to our current clients.
I think it's a great idea if you want to. It's they're going to be about $3 to $4 each, but frankly, I've told this before. When I owned NPE, our top level clients, we invested about $1,000 a year in each one of them. I think you should always be investing in your clients. So my answer would be yes, because that's a great gift.
The reason I was asking that is because, and maybe it's just in my head, but, when clients start seeing all the content that's going into SmartStart, I don't want them to be like, well, he's putting a lot of energy into this new group. What about us? And so I wanted to see, what else do we need to do? Like, to give them the books and anything to kind of differentiate. I know it's a lot of content going into SmartStart. How do we kind of keep our current clients happy as well, and not saying, well, if he has his free group, why am I, still going? I mean, of course they come for the community and culture, but some people will say that, like, well, why am I still paying him X amount of dollars and I'm getting all this in this other group?
Yeah. And it's a good question, and you definitely need a good answer for it. And so you ought to think that through, because really the answer to that is your value proposition. It's what are you selling to your people, and you need to be clear on that. And I think you hit the nail on the head in terms of, the culture and community is part of it, but the real value is that I believe, and you will know better because it's your business, is them showing up and being educated, motivated, and coached real time and worked out real time by experts in person. Because I think anybody who's tried it before knows there is a huge, massive chasm of difference between trying to work out on your own, by yourself at home, or even in the gym, and working out with a professional coach. So you need to be able to explain that.
Right. And Percy, I don't think you'll have I don't think you'll have nearly the kickback that you might fear. The truth of the matter is, one of our biggest, at Iron Tribe, an oncologist had gone through the P90X, 3 different 6-week programs, when he found a free report that I wrote. And the guy ends up coming, and he joins, he brings his wife, his 2 kids, and signs up 6 other families. And so the point is, look, there's all these kinds of programs. There's a walk in the park that's free, right? But you are the guy that's going to transform their life face to face, right? And just like Eric said, there's an education gap, but there's also an experiential gap, right? That can only be fulfilled in person, face to face, through an accountability of someone like yourself.
Yeah. And I think it's wise for I think it's a great question. What you asked is a great question. And it's so critical that everybody be very clear on that, because it's not just about explaining it to people, your existing clients it's about explaining to anybody who asks you, well, why should I join you? Why should I be a client? You should be able to powerfully articulate exactly why in a succinct way.
And there's many ways you can do it. Look, do you want to rent an apartment, or do you want to own a home? Do you want to rent a car, or do you want to buy a car, right? Yeah, there's all these kinds of ways that you don't want to come across as flippant. But you can sit at home and watch Netflix, or you can go out and go to a live, concert, right? And so it is ultimately, it's the experience, and that's what you're bringing. Experience.
Yeah. Experience and results. But I think, you can't just say those words. As Aaron said, you need ideally some type of analogy or metaphor. Those are great. And Aaron was giving you a few examples. Those are powerful. But then also, passion. And that passion needs to show through that, here's the difference. Let me make it very clear what the difference is, Mr. Jones, so you understand, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I just needed some reassurance and reaffirmation about that.
Yeah, no, I get you. But I also remember your current members, your clients can be members of the group too, and get all that stuff as well, in addition to, of course, what they're paying you for. But I think they should all understand, and if not, you need to educate them where the value is, the real value.
And don't forget what Chris Gray said, right? He's already got 2 people off of his group that signed up, or is coming to sign up, or whatever. That's typically the way the flow is going to go. They're going to come from the Facebook group into your facility, and not vice versa.
Yeah, no doubt. Anything else, Percy?
That's it for today, fellas. I appreciate it.
You're good? All right, fantastic. Okay, Adrian, let's jump up to you, brother. I know you got a lot going on. Let's share it with us.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to figure out.
Wait, you just muted yourself.
Sorry, there we go. I hit that. So it happened 3 days ago, and then I've just been processing.
What happened? We missed it.
Oh, I'll tell you in a sec. I'm just telling you where I'm at now. So I just had time to process it. Aaron's helped me process it a lot too. So basically on Tuesday, Three of my trainers like basically sat me down. I didn't know that it was going to be with all three of them. I thought I was having a meeting with one of them, but they all pretty much announced that they're leaving. So that happened all at once, which is the hard part to deal with. Like it'd be easier for me to handle it if it was like one by one. But yeah, so that happened. It was frustrating. And it was like really, like the past 3 days have been kind of a headache for me. And so basically I'll kind of like go through, like what I wanted to do today was kind of go through the reason why each of them was leaving. And then afterwards, like maybe you can help me out with my, like figuring out how much of a role I play in it too. Because some of it was my fault. I get that. And of course, some of it was on them too. So I'll explain each one in turn. And then afterwards, I just have two questions. Basically, one is just how do I like find a uniform way to explain that to the members. Aaron's helped me out a little bit with that. I want to get other people's take on that too. And then, so that's the most important thing is I want to figure out how to explain this to clients, because after I explain everything, I'll be able to, you guys have a better sense of how to help me with that. All right. So I'll run it down line by line. So to kind of bring everyone up to speed, there's three trainers. There's Lydia. She was our food coach. She did a lot of work with clients' nutrition, and she trained a little bit, but otherwise she did a lot of nutrition work with members. There's Frankie, who was one of the main trainers, and he did everybody's monthly measurements with clients. So we had one person doing it, so it's consistent. And then the third one is Adam, and Adam was another one of our main trainers. So Lydia is leaving because she's kind of like a follower, where if other people start speaking up, then she'll feel like she can speak up too. So for her, it's a lot of emotional, mental stress, just not wanting more responsibility, wanting to shift her focus from work to school. So I'm not too stressed out about Lydia leaving. Like that makes sense to me. I get it. It's not right for her right now. And I was already having trouble with her before, holding her accountable, trying to hold her hand a lot. So I'm okay with that departure. That's not freaking me out too bad. It's just with Frankie and Adam. So that's Lydia's case, so I'm okay with that. The other two are what I'm worried about. So Frankie, just to give you a little background, he's an ex-Army guy. He isn't like the brightest tool in the shed. He's a pretty emotionally driven kind of guy, just so you know who he is. You know, he doesn't like sit and think things through. Like once he feels strongly about something, he acts on it. So that's who he is. Yeah. So with Frankie, a lot of it was just that he was getting upset that he felt like he wasn't being paid enough for training, which he didn't really communicate that to me the whole time either. And even, you know, when he signed up to be an employee here, when he knew what the pay was, that didn't come up at that time either. So he really liked it. Like in the beginning, he was having a lot of fun. He was there almost like every day because he really just wanted to be there. And then over time, he just started like not showing up more, not to work, but just in general. He wasn't present as much as he used to be. He wasn't engaged like he used to be. He still showed up to train. He still had a good time doing it, but he slowly lost interest in it. And then just at this meeting, he was telling me how he was struggling to make ends meet and things like that. And he was also like getting frustrated with me for several reasons. One was because, and this is like my fault, this is where I come into play, is because he felt like he wasn't being appropriately compensated for measurements. So there was a point in time where I tried to go back and forth on him keeping track of his measurement schedule, but he basically said that that's not his responsibility, that's my responsibility. So that was, again, I don't know what I can do there if someone doesn't want to help me keep track of things. So that was one piece where he was frustrated. The other one was several months ago, he asked me to, or I asked him rather, to write his name down on the calendar, on the schedule, when he was there for measurements and things like that. And he was doing that for a little while, but I failed to keep track of it. So that was my fault, and I get that. I should have followed through on that. That's where I feel like I let him down. But he didn't communicate that to me. He didn't try and remind me. He just stopped doing it. He just stopped writing his name, and then he let the frustration grow to the point where he just wants to leave now. So again, it goes both ways on that. And then he was also frustrated because, like several factors, like he doesn't understand why we raised the rates on members, and he thinks that's against his values. So, and he doesn't understand why, like, we haven't expanded the facility yet. Because I've been talking about it for a while, and I'm trying to make the right decision. I'm trying to be patient. But he took that as, okay, Adrian's talking about all these things, but nothing's changing physically. So I can't trust him. You know, I can't trust his word. So he was getting frustrated with those things, which I don't know what to do about. So for me personally, like, my biggest frustration with Frankie comes from the fact that I did fail him. Like, I did let him down because I didn't keep track of, or I didn't follow through when he wrote his name down. I just forgot to compensate him for that. I wish he had communicated that to me earlier before letting it boil up like this. So that was the one thing that I know I was responsible in with Frankie's departure. The other part that I feel really bad about is that he really enjoyed being there. And then over time, it's like he slowly stopped enjoying being there. So I don't know how much of that is within my control. I don't know how much of an influence I had on that versus how much of it was him, you know. And his growing frustrations with me, I don't know what to do about, to be honest with you, because I don't know. Like, I'm just taking time with things, and I always try and figure things out, and nothing is, like, set in stone. And I feel like that's kind of like what he wants, is things to be, like, set, you know, and it's like, it's not the environment we have. Like, we're always going to figure something out, or even if we do put something into place, we might change it, you know. So that's Frankie's bit, and I'm still confused as to how to feel about that, because part of me is okay with him leaving. You know, the only part of me that's not is the part where I realized that I forgot to follow through. I failed to follow through on the measurements and, like, paying him for when he wrote his name down. So I know I had a part in that. I just don't know how much of a part I had in his larger dissatisfaction, you know, over time. So that was.
Well, let me stop you right there and say you're responsible completely for everything. It's your responsibility. So yeah. you have to own this. You know, he's your employee, and everybody has their idiosyncrasies and their odd behaviors and stuff. But it's your job to be on top of those things, to understand those people, to motivate, lead, and manage them down. So you got to own this and take full responsibility for it.
Yeah,
it's not his fault.
Okay.
Yeah. So what about the other girl, or Adam, I should say?
Yep. So Adam's his was twofold. So one, and I get what you're saying about taking personal responsibility. I get that. So I'm not trying to, like, shy away from it.
Yeah. No, I know you. I know you.
So I'm just trying not to take so much responsibility that I view it as all my fault. That's how I felt in the beginning with all this. It was all my fault. And it really got me down. So the third one, Adam, his biggest factor started with, so I was trying to, and this was a little while ago, develop kind of like a head trainer role, what is now for me known as, like, being a facility manager. So I was still in the middle of kind of developing that and trying to figure out how to more or less clone myself in a way, not just have trainers on the floor, but have somebody who can train on the floor and, you know, do the stuff that I do, you know. So that was trying to figure that out. I came up with kind of like a head trainer role for Adam, and I thought he'd be a good fit for it. And then I don't necessarily remember promising him the role, like, hey, this is going to happen on X date. You know, we didn't, like, sign off on an agreement saying it's going to take effect on this date and time, you know. But to him, like, that's kind of how it was, you know. So he made the assumption that he was going to get the role. He moved into a new apartment with his girlfriend. And then also his girlfriend is not working anymore because she's going to school. So now he's paying the bills for both of them. So that added to the financial frustration for Adam. And that was, again, I think my fault for not communicating clearly what was going on with the head trainer role, because I was still developing it. So I know that was my piece in it. So I know I failed to communicate that to him. And then trying to just say, hey, man, I don't know where this role is going. I'm still trying to figure it out and things like that. The trick for this, though, is that as I was developing the role, as I was, like, figuring out exactly what the responsibilities would be, and then renaming it from head trainer to facility manager, it had other roles just outside of training sessions. So then I re-offered that to Adam, and he said, no, I just want to stick with on the floor training. So again, I don't know what to do about that because I'm trying to, help him. I'm trying to help him out, and it's what the business needs, like responsibility-wise. But at the same time, he's saying he doesn't want it. He wants to stick with on the floor training, but he doesn't want a lot more hours. He doesn't want to work doubles because he doesn't want to wear himself out. So again, like mixed messages from him. So I know that my part in it was failure to communicate the head trainer role, which he apparently was like banking on without me knowing it. So that was miscommunication on my part. So I get my part in that. And then the second thing, so that was when Adam kind of started like mistrusting me in a way, where he was like, okay, like it doesn't matter what Adrian says. I just want to see what he does kind of thing.
Let me interrupt you just for a second. Do you have staff meetings?
Yeah. Yep. Weekly.
Do you have individual meetings with direct reports? I mean, in your line, I guess everybody's a direct report, but do you have individual meetings with these folks?
I did individual meetings for a while. Then I shifted it to team meetings with the exception of making individual meetings if I had to talk further with somebody about something. So it was team meetings once a week and then individual meetings as needed.
All right. I'll tell you, there's not a lot that you guys have heard me talk about Sean before. He and I, our friendship fell apart, which is unfortunate, but I'll tell you one of the things he was very, very good at. He was very good at managing people down. He wasn't a good people person, but he was good at managing people. And the reason he was good at that is because he documented everything. And I'll tell you from a legal point of view, and I'm not giving you legal advice, but if you make verbal commitments to people, that can be used against you. So you got to be careful. If you say something to somebody, it should be documented, and particularly in terms of like an advancement opportunity. You need to document everything like that so that you have records of all this stuff. And I would suggest, and I'd like to get everybody else's input on this, but I would suggest that you have, with at least your key person, at least your lead trainer or somebody, that you have a weekly meeting individual with that person, and you review. First part of the meeting is you review everything from the last meeting. You say, where do we stand with all this stuff? Then you do new business, and then you plan your next meeting. That type of thing. But you got to document stuff because you can get burned. That's my input on it. I'd like to know what other folks think that have had some issues. Anybody got any input? Mike? Anybody? Calvin?
Yeah, I can share a little bit with that. So I have Adrian, I don't know if you have this, but I have a file for every coach that we have. So whenever we do have a sit down interaction about anything, I do document that regardless of what it is. If it's a discussion about a possible pay raise or anything like that, I date it and go through all of that. And like I said, in those meetings now, since I've developed the levels, which I talked about in this group before, those pretty much lead the discussion. So like if a guy's complaining about wanting more money, but he doesn't want to do more stuff, it's really right there. Like, okay, here's the path. Here is your path. If you want more money, here it is. You want to do those things. Don't complain to me about, I don't want to do more things, but I want more money. I mean, that's really honest. To be honest with you, if you have your core values, set up, you can really point to your core values and say, is that really part of, being a team player and being part of the vision and kind of wanting to be integrity and all those things. I mean, you can't just come in and ask for more money. It's not the way the world works. The world doesn't work that way. So, I mean, by doing those things from the kind of the get-go, I think it allows you to get a feel for coaches right from the beginning. So before you start you kind of can, to be honest, feel them out and know, like, all right, is this somebody? Are they going to build your trust? You're going to have trust in them, because you might say right off the bat from when a coach first starts that, hey, all right, maybe I'm not. This isn't a guy that I can groom into a position that I have here. And that's just my kind of my opinion on it. And maybe a guy comes out and is like, hey, what more can I do? I want to do this. Perfect. Yeah, you're right. I haven't done this yet. I'm going to do that. I'm going to make it happen. And the next time you meet with him, like, okay, where do we stand? You're putting back out the standards for that level of a coach. And he's like, yep, I've done this. And then you're like, okay. Then he has a gripe, I guess, about wanting more money. And maybe he has earned that at that point. But, I I missed some of the conversation, so I apologize. But somebody doesn't just get more money because they want more money or because they now need more money. What do you do with your business, Adrian, if you need more money? Do you just say, oh, I want more people? You go out there and you bust your ass to get more people in the door, right? That's what you do. So same thing. You want more money? Okay, you're going to work for the more money. Yeah. And that's the way it's got to go.
That's why, like, I'm particularly okay with, like, Frankie, his situation, like him going, because his expectation of what should be done is it's too far away removed from, like, he doesn't want to do extra work, but he thinks he should be getting paid a lot more just for the work he's doing now, you know.
And on the flip side of that, he is mad at you, I can't think of a better word, for raising your rates. So he's telling you, oh, don't charge so much, but pay me more. It's just, this is the craziness of people. You know, they're wackadoodles out there. And that's why, you know, you've got to have a great management system in place. And I think what Mike just articulated, and he's talked about it before, having that track and making it very clear when you hire somebody, here's the track. Here's how you can progress forward in this company. So it's very clear. There's no ambiguity. But one of the things I want to ask you about is with Frankie, you mentioned that when he was writing his name down, documenting the measurements that he was doing, was your agreement with him that you would compensate him for each of those sessions or whatever it is, each of those measurements that he did?
Yeah, just the time on that he wrote down. Yeah.
And did you?
No, that was my fault. So
yeah,
I get.
Well, that's a significant thing. And,
yeah.
You know, that's a significant thing. So essentially, you didn't fulfill on your promise to compensate somebody for work that they did, and right. That's why I'm telling you, documentation. It's critical, man. Because as you grow in business, you open up liability. You open up yourself to liability, and the last thing you want to do is get sued by some knucklehead.
Yeah.
Have you paid him since for that work?
Making up for it, yeah. You know, the hard part was that he didn't, like, not that I expected him to, so I'm not mad at him about it. It's just unfortunate the way it worked out. You know, so I forgot that was my mistake. No one else's. I just wish that he would have communicated that as soon as he knew.
You took ownership with him and apologized. It was a mistake. I don't know how I missed it.
Yeah, I didn't
see him, right?
And yeah, no, that's completely on me. I get that, which is why.
And then you paid him, right? You did pay him though?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a mistake, man. I mean, I think you made a mistake. You learn from it, right? You learn from that mistake and say, all right, well, most of the systems that I have, like that same thing with the admin product that I have, is the systems have come about because of a necessity. So you found the hole in your game pretty much, right? Like, all right, well, I found the hole in my game. Now, how do I fix it? What's the game plan to fix it? And then you're going to fix it, and then it's going to be better the next time through. And you learn from it and build on it.
Yeah, I get that. So my question, I guess, is how do I – because I feel like a lot of this happening is, again, this is exactly how I felt when it first happened. That, like, all this is my fault. Like, that I'm the bad guy who's making these great people leave now. And now I feel like I have to explain that to the clients, and they'll probably wonder, where is Adam? Where I have to be like, well, like, my mind goes blank because I don't know what else to say besides, well, I'm an idiot. I made mistakes, and now they hate me, and now they left. Like, that's how I feel. And I don't know how to turn that around. You know, no, I'm not going to say it. That's what my mind goes to.
But I hear you, man. But this is, you know, you take things too personally, Adrian. I mean, you just got to learn from. You recognize you made the mistake. You do what is necessary to fix it, to make it right, and you implement something, a system, ideally, so that it doesn't happen again. And if somebody asks, and you can just, you know, if you want to be completely forthright about it, you could say, you know, there was a problem. We had an issue. We had a disagreement over something or whatever. However you want to articulate it, but don't make it about you screwing up. I'm not saying you lie. I'm just saying you articulate it in a way that makes it clear that there was an issue that came up. We had to part ways. We've got some new folks coming in that are great, that kind of thing. Always stay positive. That's in terms of with the customers, I would say.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. But I know how this eats at you, man. I mean, and we can all see it on your face, how it eats at you. And I think you just gotta, you know, there's this great thing about, there's a great documentary on Netflix that I'm watching about ultimate Frisbee. I played ultimate Frisbee in high school. I went to school in New England, and it's hugely popular up there. And so I saw this documentary, and I was intrigued, and I'm watching it. And these guys talk about the spirit of the game, and they interviewed different players, and they said, "What does it mean to you?" Because that's one of their tenets, or is the spirit of the game. And they asked these different players, "What does that mean to you?" And different ones said, "Well, you know, it means fair play." And then other guys were like, "Yeah, essentially it means fair play, but it also means that we're going to do everything that we possibly can to win within the rules." And you know, so it doesn't diminish the competitive edge. And maybe I'm not articulating it as effectively as I could, but what I'm getting at is that you are playing a game to win, and you have to, and that means protecting yourself with integrity and going forward in an aggressive manner to win at this game. And there are going to be people who come into your life who are, you know, just don't fit. They don't fit on your team for whatever reason. And maybe there's going to be problems that occur. Then you just deal with them and you move forward and you stay positive and you find solutions. And that's the thing. It's problem after problem. That's what business is. It's problem solving. That's what life is. It's problem solving.
Adrian, I can sympathize with you, man, because, you know, while I'm a lot older than you, I believe, when I first started, the very first employee that I left came here as an intern originally. And it was kind of along the same lines. I just couldn't pay him enough based upon what we had at the time. It was a while back. And, you know, and that was the reason for leaving. It was that he wasn't making enough money. And when I broke that to all the members that we had, what I simply said was that, you know, we're at a point where we're continuing to grow here. So-and-so needed more than what we could provide him. We're going to miss him. We wish him the best of luck. He's been a big part of our family here for the past 2 years, and we wish him nothing but the best. And it was positive, as if nothing had happened. And I had a couple of I had gotten on him a couple times where it was, when he was leaving, it was kind of in not the greatest of terms. He ended up reaching out to me over a year later, like thanking me so much for everything. But when he left, personally behind the scenes, it wasn't on like the best of terms when he was leaving, because a couple of things had happened, and but that never got portrayed to our member base whatsoever. So I would definitely keep it in a positive light, and because you definitely don't want to go that way for sure.
Yeah, and those are the two things that I'm struggling to explain, because on the one hand, they both, like Frankie and both wanted more money, but at the same time, neither of them wanted to fully step into that manager role. You know, I don't know how to explain, or if I even should bother explaining that. And the other part of it is what you do, I guess, where they need more, and where we're at right now, not able to provide what they need. You know, like, is that bad to say the members? Because to me, it's like, I feel like crap when I say that, you know, because I always want to provide for people.
Yeah. I mean, you can also say too, like, you know, the same way that I work with you guys to help you guys to accomplish your goals. I want all of our coaches to accomplish all of their goals. And, you know, if their vision is not the same as the business in terms of the growth, and they want something different, they are choosing to pursue other whatever. I mean, they might not, you don't even know what they're going to do. Right. So, I mean, you can wrap it into that too. Like, because if you have the positions that are there for them, that they're just not willing to take on the responsibility. I mean, maybe it isn't a case of they just want more money. It's, you got to come up with a kind of another way to break it, but you want to keep it positive about them. I would not say anything. I wouldn't be negative about them to your members, because you don't know if they're running all the sessions, they may have developed pretty good relationships, better relationships with the members than what you have, depending on how often you're in there. And you don't want to say anything negative about them, because then that might give your members a negative view upon you. Like, well, what does he say about me, kind of thing. I don't know. That's just my opinion, but
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly right. To always stay positive, even when you're talking about your nasty competitor. Well, I mean, it's another fit body down the road. You know, it's like I wouldn't badmouth them, but I'd say, here's why we're better. I'd make it very clear why you're better, but I wouldn't disparage them. And it's the same with anybody you're talking about. Hey, listen, let me jump over to Calvin real quick because he's got a bolt in a few. I need to get to him. And we can come back to you, Adrian, if you want to talk some more about this after we get to Calvin and Jonas. Calvin, give us an update. Let us know how things are going. Any questions you got?
Yes, sir. What's going on? Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Awesome. Appreciate everything, you guys. We've been busy, obviously. For those who don't know, I'm about 3.5, 4 hours away from Houston. So we've been swamped with a lot of evacuees coming up this way and trying to help with local charities and churches and whatnot. So we have this huge thing going to be on tomorrow that is, we got about 9 different fitness and wellness facilities coming together to do this community workout in the stadium, the high school stadium. So we're going to have like stations set up and everybody's just basically trying to send like crazy money this month down there to Rockport in the area down there too as well. So that's going to be tomorrow. That's going to be pretty epic, and a lot of folks giving and whatnot for that too. So kind of orchestrated. We're just going to get the gyms to kind of put the money together, but now we say, hey, let's do a full workout. So you got like the yoga person over there with CrossFit and us. It's like going to be crazy, but that's a great way to come together to give and whatnot. So definitely want to capitalize on it. If you guys have, other than you, we're going to have flyers and things like that. And when we made our flyers for 2 weeks ago, we did this health fair, and we didn't get a chance to put the Get Fit Hot on Lake still on there. So my wife and I were talking about we're just going to put a sticker on the back so they know exactly where to go, so everybody can go and get on the group. So we put about 50 people in the last 3 weeks, about to add another 50 people, so we're getting close to 300 in the group. So that's starting to build pretty good for the Get Fit group. And like I said, I'm encouraged my current folks that are at our facility to hop in and start engaging and being part of that too as well. We're to have automatic stuff going daily or 5 days a week. Some posts that goes into it already. Did a live video that I sent out to all of my current members, let them know the switch. Everybody's embracing it, already starting to do the change from Sweat Angels to the local cystic fibrosis organization. I've already talked to the family, one of the families that actually joined with us, and it has the 2 daughters in there. So we're going to do a family interview with them, talking about what CF means and this and that. So that's going to build a lot more traction. Going to do that generally, either live on a regular group and just put it into both of them so they can understand what we're about. So that's coming up hopefully this week. One of the daughters was in hospital for 3.5 weeks. So she's just getting out. We're going to get a chance to get them and kind of get a little bit of story why it's so significant. And I told her my own personal story why we're making that move. So those things are moving in the right direction. I haven't done my video yet. That's the plan, to get that done by Monday, to actually do the video in the group. So that I got that part going. That's growing what I'm looking at here. Signage. I actually put a post in while we were talking earlier in regards to signage, because we rebranded ourselves. We started off as boot camp because I started on the back of my truck, and now we do team personal training. So I got to switch out my sign, and I actually just put a post in there so you guys can check that, and please chime in if you can, just get some ideas. I want to switch that out. My wife and I already talked about putting up some of those feather banners or whatever you want to call them out in the front, because we're in the back side of a building, and there's like a warehouse on the back side of ours, so get a little bit more orange notification stuff out in the front. So that's in the plans to really get some folks in from that. The onboarding portion, that's what I'm working on right now. I think that is like seriously epic. So one thing I want to kind of do is almost, I don't know how to do this, to almost reintroduce my current folks to almost go through that feeling of having a full onboarding, because we didn't have it. We didn't have it in place. It was kind of hit or miss of what we're doing before, but how to get them to get some of that initial, get some of that feeling now that it's all these things are the value of part of it. So I just want to kind of get an idea how to get where new people are coming in and have that onboarding love and, honeymooning effect to my current folks. So that's definitely one thing I want to try to be able to get going there.
You can do that with your current folks if you want to. You can give them the same onboarding process. You just have to adapt it slightly. And
okay.
If you want to take them through that, you absolutely can.
Okay.
And what the good thing about that is that it helps instill that or reestablish that referral culture, because that whole process is about driving the referral message.
Okay, good. And in my video, I forgot, I'm glad you said that. In the video, we had a can't and cuss jar that we have here. So can't is considered a 4-letter cuss word as well as regular cuss words. And we had a jar that was going towards this one lady who had, a young girl had brain cancer and stuff like that. But we're going to repurpose it for the cystic fibrosis organization. So introduce that, but also the referral. So I did introduce that to the video too as well, that, you know, $50 to the person coming in, $50 to the referral. So I got to reinsert that to it as well. So definitely want to run that part too as well. We were using Remind, a little program for text. It's a free texting service. I don't know if anybody ever seen that before, but a lot of schools are doing it. A lot of public schools are using it. I like free. Free really works well. You only get 140, what do you call it? You only get 140 characters, but what you can do is you still can do that with a picture. So if it's big enough, it's more than 140 characters, I can type it out in a memo deal. And then I'll show a screenshot. I'll show you what I did with it. You can type it up on a memo, so it's one picture and you still get the characters, but it's free. And so it sends out class announcements on everything like that. I've been using that. I know you could use the stuff like in, you know, you're like, I know everybody, people have MindBody. I don't have MindBody, but I have some different ones that can send out push notifications. But this just seems a little more intimate and works really well with that. So Remind is something I've been using. The check-ins are going well. People have made adjustments. So what we did was put 2 hashtags. It's Fight CF for cystic fibrosis and Very Strong. So they know to put those both into that. So check-ins are picking up again. It really didn't drop anything off from Sweat Angels. I took the Sweat Angel stuff off and basically reintroduced everybody to the new system with that. I think, let's see. Yeah, I think that's most of what we got there. So biggest thing is really just putting in the whole system of the onboarding. I know I was talking to some of the guys over at Coach Callis, and some people are even using that in part of the onboarding, whether it's the email or that. I haven't gotten a ConvertKit yet. I was kind of debating between ConvertKit and Drip, but I know you're a big ConvertKit guy. So I was just kind of making that final decision this weekend on which one I want to switch to. I had MailChimp, and obviously we all need to take another level up from there. So that's kind of where we're at, is just taking action and getting that stuff done.
Okay, then let me confuse you a little bit more and throw in another one. If you're gonna look at email marketing services, I strongly encourage you to look at ConvertKit. I love it. Drip, I've heard great things about, and then Active Campaign is the other one, because
I did a comparison on 3 of those. I think ConvertKit and Drip kind of beats out Active Campaigns for what I see so far, or what I'm hearing from other folks. But
all right. Okay, good. Well, I just want to throw it out there to make your decision even more difficult. But yeah.
Sweet. Thank you. Appreciate it.
No, I mean, the thing about ConvertKit that I love, I don't know, I've never used Drip, but the thing about ConvertKit I love is the simplicity. It is as simple as it gets, but yet it has all the automation features that you need at this level. I mean, I don't think, you know, Infusionsoft is wonderful, but it's just too much. It's too much.
There's a reason why they call it Confusionsoft. So I know it works for a lot of folks, but I'm too simple. So
yeah, no, me too. Hey, but let me ask you real quick about this event tomorrow, because that's very exciting. Yes. Sammy, who drove all these people to the workout? What marketing got them there?
Well, we had a meeting. One of the ladies, she has a friend who lost a house down there. She's the one that kind of had the brainstorm of us, each gym just collecting. And I was the one that actually came up with the idea to do the workout. So one of our friends, and that's pretty crazy to get everybody playing together. You know, we've got about 9 different companies that's playing together with this. And she came up there, but we're driving it through Facebook. There's an event page for it set out. You know, we're talking to our people, emailing and things of that sort. But that's kind of what we're doing. Everybody's sending their own people. I'm putting it into the Highland Lakes, Get Fit Highland Lakes group. But that's kind of what we're doing so far.
Okay, so all the different fitness businesses are driving their communities, their lists into this. And this is a workout for charity. Okay, all right, I got it. And so it's going to be primarily clients, I would imagine, but there'll also be some prospects in that.
Yes,
mix,
yes.
Right? Yeah.
Progress community folks, yes.
Yeah, but you're not going to have an opportunity to market to all of them, because that's kind of not really fair, or is it?
Well, each person, we're going to have basically 10 minutes at each of these 9 or 10 stations. You're going to have people that go to 10 minutes, and you just kind of selling yourself, showing your workout, doing your program, a little bit there. But when they leave, obviously, we want to have them flyer in hand that says Highland Lakes, this and that, when they leave from there. So we do want to have that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree, but I would just imagine that. I mean, I would imagine that all these businesses are going to have some kind. They're going to be doing some kind of marketing to these folks. So you're going to need to stand out.
Yes.
Yeah, you're going to need to get attention and stand out, and that's why it's tight because you don't have much time. It's tomorrow, but ideally, you give them something that they would keep. A flyer is too easily thrown away, but like a water bottle or something and that's expensive, I know. But what else could you even like a magnet or something? But there's no time for that now.
That's not right.
So you're going to have to make do with a flyer. So I would go hard with the cystic fibrosis message, the tie-in to your Get Fit group, because that's a charitable group, obviously,
right,
as well.
Right.
Because these people are showing up to do a charity workout, so they're conscious of.
Right. They're here. They're here to help all the folks with Hurricane Harvey.
Right. So I would make it very clear on your flyer that the group is awesome in terms of, hey, you get a lot of benefits, exercise and fitness related benefits. But it's also a charitable group too, because that is a great way to differentiate.
Okay, that sounds good.
So just real quick off the top of my head, on your flyer or whatever it is you're handing out, put a headline that reads something along these lines. You came to help. We're here to help you. Something like that with a free weeks of workout or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So appeal to them and thanking them, basically. You came to help. Thank you. All right. We're here to help you with a free week's worth of workouts.
Yeah, but he wants to drive them into his group, which is, I think, the best call to action. Drive them into the free group. But definitely, you want to make that clear. I love the headline idea, but the CTA should be to go to the group, not a free week.
Yes. Yeah, that's more than anything. I can always come back to him later if I can get him right then and jump into that.
Yeah, get them in the group. And so you got 10 minutes in front of these folks when you're doing your workout. And that's 10 minutes where I think 3 or 4 of those minutes ought to be devoted to talking about your group if you can. In between, you get motivating them.
Yes. All right.
Yeah, and then giving them the flyer. I mean, you're going to have to play things by ear, but you definitely want to come with some collateral. So you're going to have the flyer, and as long as you got a compelling message on there, and maybe, if you can, maybe a picture. I don't know. You have to figure out what you can use in terms of the messaging and the imagery.
Right.
But I was thinking a picture of that girl you talked about. But you don't want to also come off as trying to take advantage.
Exactly.
It's touchy.
It's not what my wife's on it. She's listening, so I know she's writing right now. So whatever, she's figuring out something to mastermind this thing.
Yeah, awesome. I just think that I was thinking about the story that you mentioned earlier about the girl who was in the hospital for a couple days or a couple weeks. Is she a grown woman or is she a young girl?
No, she's 17. I'm sorry, 15. She's 15 and her sister's 17. They both have CF.
Yeah, so it's dicey because you don't want to use an image without.
No, I can get all that from the parents. I won't be able to get it by tomorrow.
Oh, then don't worry about it. But do talk about the cystic fibrosis connection for sure.
Yes, yeah, they're on board. They actually may show up tomorrow. They may come out there. I know she's not well enough to get back to start working out or anything yet, but the family is probably going to show up.
Okay, Courtney wants to make a comment. I think it looks like, because I got Courtney raised her hand. So Courtney, is there something you wanted to contribute or talk about? Maybe she was just letting me know that.
I think she was saying I'm taking good notes with a thumb up is what I see.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I got that. I don't understand this raised hand.
Oh no, woman, can you talk? Like you can talk. Can we hear that voice?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. I said I'm taking great notes.
Yeah, awesome, and we're glad of that. You and Calvin, you got a great team. That's a good thing. It's also nice to have a woman on the call. Frankly,
yay! Thank you.
All right, good. Well, so are you going to be there all most of the day then tomorrow, Calvin?
No, it's only from 9 to 11. It's a short deal, but it's going to be a lot of folks coming in from all over the place. So it's a 9/11 deal. I mean, we can have 300 to 400 to 500 people there. This is the big stadium in the area. orchestrated. We've got some of my friends that are emceeing and different things like that. So it's a great opportunity to get. I'll have opportunity to be on the microphone and do certain things and talk about it and what this is all about too as well. So I kind of spearheaded the workout idea. So it should be something that would be pretty awesome. So yeah, we have good media coverage and everything for it too as well.
Well, you know, frankly, when I was talking about those motivational speakers about an hour ago or so, yes. I was thinking about you because you are those videos that I've seen of you. You're really good, and I think you get a mic in your hand, you can inspire some people. So I
mean, I fool a lot of people. I'm telling you.
yeah. But I mean, that's great. You be in front of that many people. Just have your A game ready, brother.
Yes, sir. I'm on it. All right, appreciate it. Got to roll over to the meeting here.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right, thank y'all. I'll check on the end later.
All right, take care. Thanks, Courtney. Bye. Jonas, I know you're driving, but I wanted to get to you too. Do you want to talk, or do you? Can you talk while you're driving? I don't want you
to. Yeah, I can try.
Okay. All right. Good. Well, give us an update. Let us know how you're doing.
Yeah. So I remember last time I was talking to y'all. I was having problems hiring somebody to make phone calls. And so I don't know where I got this idea from. It might have been from the group a long time ago. But what I did was, instead of hiring this new person for $10 an hour, I gave one of my current salespeople a raise. I took a raise for $5 an hour. So now they're making, now they're going to do the job just for $5 more an hour. So it kind of saved a lot of money as far as like with training, because they're already familiar with the sales process and they're just taking up a new responsibility. And so it's a lot easier just to have them do this position in conjunction with his current sales position. So
that's awesome. That's
awesome. The problem. Yeah.
Yeah. And plus you're getting somebody who you already have an established relationship with, like, and trust, and you're giving them a chance to raise their game. I mean, I think that's a win-win all the way around. That's a smart move.
Yeah, so that was cool. I solved the problem yesterday. I did that, and I called them up and I said, hey, why don't I just promote you to be like a manager, and you can have this responsibility too. I'll give you $5 an hour extra. And then for every consultation he books, regardless if it's for himself or for another salesperson, he gets a $5 commission if they close the deal. So
nice.
Yeah,
that's good.
So that's basically it. I was just listening to everybody else.
All right, good. That's great. I mean, that's smart. I always like incentivizing people with dollars for results, tied to results. I think that's how I got excited about business in the beginning. I've always been in sales type jobs. That's what I respond to. And I find that's what oftentimes the best quality people respond that way. Not always, but oftentimes. So I think it's just a smart way to set it up. Good. And Jonas, I know I still owe you a video, and I'll get it to you, brother. I'll get it to you.
No rush. I mean, take your time.
All right. Thank you.
I'll do it when you get to it, so it's no big deal.
All right. Well, I appreciate that.
All right. Yep.
All right, man. Well, then let me, Adrian, let's get back to you because I didn't want to, cut you off, but I needed to get to other people too, and so let's finish up. I'm curious. Let me ask you, Adrian. Was there a ringleader out of these three? You said they all came to you at the same time. Was there collusion, collaboration between the three of them?
I wouldn't say ringleader. I think just Adam was the one who initiated the meeting, I think, but they kind of just worked together. There wasn't like one person trying to like overthrow everybody. I think it's just that Adam had his frustrations, Frankie had his frustrations, and Lydia is just a follower of a person. She was already stressed out, but she didn't come to me individually about it. So,
yeah. And so I understand the situation with Frankie and with Lydia, and I caught some of Adam's, but that's when we kind of had to cut you off. But what was Adam's big gripe? Was it money also?
So it was money and trust. So because the whole head trainer role, fell through the cracks.
Oh, right.
Yep. So that was when he stopped trusting me. And then the other thing that added to it too was that the most recent payroll was just a little bit lower. But that was across the board for everybody just because people's hours were just a little bit less. So they were like thinking for some reason that because this last pay was low, that I was like hiding something or something like that. And that was like really annoying for me personally, because it was one payroll out of all the previous ones they've had. So for them to kind of blow one out of proportion, I think they're just trying to find something to hang their hat on, but I don't know, so that was another one of Adam's frustrations. That was the second one. So the most recent paycheck being a little lower than usual made him worried about living paycheck to paycheck, and then the whole head trainer thing falling through the cracks made him harder to trust me. So even if I said, don't worry, like your next payroll is going to be fine, because I did the hours already and I knew that it would be, but he still didn't want to trust me on that. So those were his frustrations too. And I think another part of it also is that it's not that I'm not accepting responsibility, but, because even when I did offer him the position again, like when he said, I just want to do on the floor training, like I don't want to do other stuff. And like, for example, like we haven't hired an admin yet. And I said, you can help me with like part-time admin work. It's not hard. He said, no, I want to do on the floor training. So like, what can I do in that case? Like give the guy opportunities to make more money, to do some more work. He doesn't want to, but at the same time, he's upset with me because he didn't get a promotion, AKA more money. And last payroll was lower, so it's like, I don't know what I can do in that situation.
I don't know what you can do either to remedy it. And I don't think you should try. I mean, at this point, I think you should just move forward, but try and take away as much as you can that will help you to avoid this type of situation in the future. And I think, one of the best ways is the way Mike outlined it. And that's, to have those tracks clearly defined and have good job descriptions that allow some flexibility, but are also outline core responsibilities. That's important because, you mentioned about Frankie being an Army guy and wanting this, and you said he wants structure. And that makes complete sense. A military man, they want structure because that's how everything is so structured. And that's why the military is so successful. Because they can take anybody and plug them into the system, and the system works because there's no wiggle room. It's a system, and people thrive in that. I mean, I've talked about my brother Mike before. He was a almost on his way to becoming a complete loser until he enlisted in the Navy, and now he's on his way to becoming an admiral. I mean, people thrive in a structured environment. So I think the more structured you can make it, the more clear the path. And they see it. They see it.
And that's what I'm butting up against. This is the third time that I've seriously butt up against it. And it's like deja vu every time I say this, but I don't know. Like there's responsibilities that I know for a fact that I would give to somebody, like being a facility manager, but it's like I only have one location, so I'm not going to have two managers in one location. But my concern is I don't have everything set in stone. And again, before I joined the referral challenge, there were so many things I didn't know to do, to help people. And I feel like I'm always gonna figure stuff out. So I'm worried that not having everything set in stone, do I need to figure everything out before I hire somebody? That's my concern,
No, you absolutely don't. And I'll tell you, here's how we did it at NPE. When we sat down one day, Sean, me, Dick, I don't think Camellia was in on this, but we just sat down and we said, well, okay, we need to hire a bunch of people. Let's try and come up with basic job descriptions for these folks, for these roles. Let's outline what the roles are, and let's create a general job description. And we did that for 3 or 4 different people. And then we hired the people. Here's the job description type thing. And then as they progressed and we realized, oh, they also need to do this, or we don't want them doing that, we adjusted the job description. We had a meeting with them. We reviewed the new job description, had them sign off on it, that they understood these are the new requirements that have been adjusted. They're like, cool. The important thing is people just want to know what it is they're supposed to do and how they're going to be judged and compensated and evaluated. But it doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing in business is ever perfect. rarely ever perfect. It's always an evolutionary process. So I hope that answers your question. It doesn't need to be perfect to start. It just needs to be, and then it needs consistent. Goes back to the whole marketing thing too. It's always consistent application, consistent optimization. When you tell people the realities of business, when people really start to understand everything that goes into business, you scare the shit out of them, because people think it's just, I got to do my skill. I got to work people out and I make all this money. And I'm not saying you had that delusion or that you were confused by that, but people don't recognize everything that goes into business until you start doing it full time, and you're growing into it and you're going to be fine. But don't think it's got to be perfect. That's what I'm trying to say. Just optimize.
So the one lesson I learned from the most part is that, like, what I'm learning from all of this is that, like, I don't communicate like the creation of systems or like job descriptions or things like that, because I view it as my problem to solve. And so then I only kind of talk about it in the beginning, and then I'll only bring it up again once I can see how it fits and if it works. So what I'm learning now is to talk to people like through the process, during it, like while it's happening, while I'm creating it, like to give people kind of a heads up of where things stand, or like, for example, like even when it comes to like moving out of our current space, which I haven't found a spot yet. I'm just being patient. I don't want to screw us over, but I don't consistently tell my team that, because I view that as my problem. Their main concern should just be to continue training the clients. But I'm realizing now that, it's good to involve people, I guess. I didn't know that. I thought that I would just be able to solve my problems. They can just keep doing what they should be doing, but I'm learning now that people actually kind of want to be involved because they want to know what the heck's going on, So I know that I'm learning a lot from this. I just don't understand exactly how to communicate it to clients. That's the hardest part that I keep running. And another thing too, and maybe you can help me with this.
Hold on, before you get into that, I just want to say what you just said there is huge. It's huge that you recognize where the problem was, you recognize how to solve the problem, and you recognize the importance of, that's what leadership is. What you just described, getting the team invested in the success of your vision. You are the leader, but the way you lead these people, or the way you really create a team, is you get them invested, and by asking for their input on things. And that's one of the ways, if I were you now, to create your job descriptions. You have these people in place. I would go sit down with your best trainer or somebody you like and say, hey, help me create this job description for all the other trainers. And if you've still got your admin or whomever, do the same thing with that person and get them invested in helping you create those things. And I would also tell them, hey, I'm seriously considering looking for a new location. That's on my radar right now, and I'd love to get your help. Can you be a bird dog for me? Keep your eyes open. And because if they find a place and you ultimately choose that place, they're going to be like, that's awesome. I mean, he took my advice on this, or he followed through on a suggestion I made. That gets them more invested. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm following that. Yeah, I get that.
All right, so go ahead. What you were going to make another point?
Yeah, so still trying to figure out like that. And the reason why I'm asking this over and over again, because I'm just imagining it happening on the floor when I'm training again for the meantime. Like when a client asks me what happened to Adam or Frankie, I'm just trying to keep thinking about like my one sentence little thing. Like, I think I'm getting it, probably just along the lines of, hey, just, things didn't work out. They want to explore other opportunities, honestly, like I want to be kind of honest about it and just say they needed more than what I could have provided for them right now in their life,
Yeah, I hear you, but sometimes you're better off leading with less information. If the person wants to pursue the conversation with you, then yeah, I wouldn't ever encourage you to lie, but you don't need to gush to begin with. So I would just, what you said first was, I think, perfect. They wanted to pursue other opportunities, and so they moved on. And if the person, your client, presses you for more information, then you can say whatever you feel is appropriate as long as it's always positive.
Yeah.
Yeah. But just start with less information. That's a good rule of thumb in any business transaction. And even though these clients are your friends and you care about them, it's a business transaction. Lead with less, and ideally get the other person to lead. In any type of negotiation or you always want to get the other person to speak first. But in this case, somebody asks you a question, give as short an answer as you can, and if they want to pursue it, then you can go into more. That's high level shit what I just shared with you right there, my friend.
So always aired on the other side. I don't know. I don't mind sharing details, I guess, because to me it feels okay. I don't know.
I hear you, but you can get into too much trouble because the more you share along those lines, I know you, Adrian, because you and I are very similar. And if you start talking too much about the details, your emotion can take over to some degree, and you start showing sides that you don't necessarily want to show. So you have to be very circumspect about how you do this. I've learned this from my brother, and he's a master of it. My father is too. But I was always a gushy. When I was younger, I gushed. Even now, I gush. You guys know that. Sometimes I just gush, and afterwards I think, damn it, I wish I hadn't gushed. So you just got to watch that. You got to control that urge to get overly emotional.
Yeah.
It'll serve you well.
Yeah. All right. I feel like I should ask more questions about that, but I don't want to forget the question I have now. As far as, because Lydia's leaving and Frankie's leaving, so that opens the spots for nutrition meetings for clients and measurements for clients. My concern is that I won't be able to fill those roles adequately during this restaffing period. Because on average, we have about 6 to 7 nutrition meetings a week, and they're about half an hour, in length. And then on average, we have about 10 to 20 measurement meetings a week, and those happen in between session times or, during the afternoons. So my biggest concern is that I'm not able to fill all of those while training sessions and still doing sales consults and things like that, So I don't, I'm debating between do I try and make it all work, or do I simply just go over the route of telling people, hey, for a moment, these won't be happening while we get other people in. I don't know. For example, I know I asked you about it, Aaron, and you said better to err on the side of trying to do stuff so you can just fill in a little bit, rather than cut it out for the time being. And I do still have one of my coaches with me, Deo, D-E-O is his name, Deo. And he was one guy who was hearing all the stuff going on, but he's giving me the benefit of the doubt, and he's still on the team. So he's he understands that I make mistakes, but he's been with me the longest too. So, but he's still there.
Listen to the way you just described that. You just said your employee is giving you the benefit of the doubt. Adrian, I've known you for a little while now, and I got zero reason to believe that you have any ethical issues. I think you're about as straight a shooter as I've ever met, and I think you're building a fantastic business. So you got to be careful about how you articulate things about yourself like that. You just disparaged yourself. You're saying he gave you the benefit of the doubt. He's your employee. He's lucky to be working with you, and he's lucky to have you. And you need to understand that.
How many times have we had this discussion, right, Adrian? Same thing. Remember when you and I were on the phone the last time and I wrote down about 4 or 5 different paragraphs where you were disparaging yourself? Dude, that's got to stop. Eric is absolutely right. It's got to stop, man.
I guess I just view it because that part of me still views this whole mess as my fault.
It is your fault. It is your fault. And it's good. You got to take responsibility. You got to own it 100%. But that doesn't make you less than. That's growing pains, man. That's business.
Adrian, think about what you're doing for your employees, too. What you're doing for your employees, you are trying to help build them a future. You're trying to make them more money. You're trying to make them more money, and some of them don't even want it. Or they don't want to do it. You're working harder to make them more money, and they don't want to take it. I agree with Eric and Aaron. I think that you're taking it too much to a different level, too personal. It's more so this new guy that you just said is giving, or the guy that's giving you the benefit of the doubt. This might be a person who's willing to take on more hours and is glad that they have an opportunity to make more money. And then you fix the ship and where you feel like you dropped off and fix it for next time. But I agree 100% with Eric and Aaron that you got to stop beating yourself up that way about it, because you're going to get yourself into that negative mindset of, oh, I'm no good, I'm not this, I'm not that, and really it's going to really take a toll on you, man.
Yeah, I guess I didn't.
It will. It'll eat you from the inside out, man. You've got to rein that in. And I think we've talked about this before, and I think I remember telling you, until I was 30 years old, I was a lost cause, man. I was jumping from job to job, and I would beat myself up because, like you, I'm very introspective, and I'd just be like, dude, I was a good salesman and everything, but I wasn't living up to what I knew I could do. But then somebody told me, and I got squared away, my mindset squared away, you got to be your own number one best cheerleader. There is nobody else who can lift you up, not even your spouse or your parents. They can tell you nice things and tell you that, but if you don't feel it, you have to remind yourself all the time, you are the man. And it's important. It might sound corny, but you have to be your number one cheerleader. I screw up every day in business, with my wife, with my children. I screw up all the time, but I recognize it. I try and fix it, and then I let it go. And that's what you need to do.
That's the hard part here, because I don't know what to do about this. Like, I still feel like it's all like my fault in this situation, like that I caused this to happen, and now I have to try and explain that, like that's why I don't feel like I have the right to like have self-confidence in this situation, in this instance, because it's like I dropped the ball in two different places, and now they're leaving because of it.
You're going to drop 1,000 balls between now and the time that you're my age, Aaron's age. You'll drop 500 by the time you're Mike's age. That's what happens. Balls get dropped, and it's the businesses that survive are the ones that are able to keep more balls in the air than they drop. And that's it. It's a basic equation like that. You will drop balls, and you just have to learn from it.
Yeah,
that's it. But you can't let it eat at you and erode your self-confidence, because without your confidence, there's not a whole lot left.
Yeah.
Not in business. You could be okay on a job, but not running a business.
Yeah, I think I see the difference in that too.
Yeah.
So,
you're going to be fine, brother. You're going to be fine. You've gotten some good feedback here. I think some good steps, ways to move forward. Just keep showing up, keep working it, as they say in AA or whatever. If you work it, it works for you, or however. Yeah. Because you're getting good advice, not just from everybody, and I think in your heart
What? So I want to get back to the question, because
but we got. I hit 2 minutes, and then I got to bolt. I'm already an hour and 15 minutes over. Go ahead.
Is it like worth telling members that the measurements and nutrition meetings are like on pause, or should I try to fill all that in my schedule? That's the hard part.
I don't know, Mike. Did you catch that? Do you know what are you?
My opinion. I would try to make things as little of a difference as possible for the members, because if you, like we talked about before, if they have developed a good relationship with these coaches that are leaving, and then they say, oh, and now they're not going to be doing nutrition consults anymore, and now the value of their membership is now going down. They may be a little bit upset that the coach that they're used to working with is going, and then you now pull the other stuff out from underneath. I would try to make that as seamless as possible and use these meetings, if you're running them, to really build up your relationship back with these people that you haven't been coaching with. So if you haven't been on the floor coaching with them, now is a chance to get them in and let them see how vested you are, so they can say, like, man, this guy Adrian's awesome. Like, I'm excited to be able to work with Adrian, because he's what a great guy. I think that's what I would try. I would try to pick up the slack, and yeah, it might be a little bit of work on your end, but it's a little bit more at first. But I think in my opinion, I think that's important.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's sound feedback. And isn't that, Aaron, isn't that what you said as well? basically. Yeah. Okay. So I think we're all in agreement. That's the smart way forward. And the great thing, one of the best things you got going for you, brother, is youth and energy. So you can you can absolutely do it. Just if you got to take all these on yourself. But I think that's wise not to have. You've already got some change now that's occurring to minimize other change, as Mike said. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks for that. Yeah.
All right, man. Be strong. It's all good. Remind yourself of your victories. That's it. Read Psycho-Cybernetics, Theater of Their Mind. You should read that book if you haven't read it. Psycho-Cybernetic. You have? Well, then you understand Theater of the Mind. You got to play that success reel all the time. All right, guys. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. That was a great call again, as always.